Once we cross that milestone of 50, mornings feel a little different. Maybe it takes longer to shake off the stiffness in your joints. Maybe you wake up feeling less energized than you used to, or you notice that your digestion isn't quite as forgiving as it once was. For some, breakfast has even become a dilemma. Should I eat lightly to avoid bloating, or do I need something hearty to carry me through the day? And here's the truth so many of us feel, but don't always say out loud. After 50, food is no longer just food. It becomes medicine, it becomes energy, it becomes a tool for independence. What we put on our plate in the morning can literally decide how the rest of our day will feel. If you've ever dragged yourself through a sluggish morning, wondering why you don't have the spark you once did, you're not alone. And that's exactly why today I want to talk to you about one of the simplest, most affordable, yet most powerful foods you can choose for breakfast: the humble egg. Yes, the egg. Not a fancy superfood from the other side of the world, not a powdered supplement, not something you have to hunt for at a specialty store, just an egg. And the reason I'm calling it the perfect breakfast food after 50 is because science, personal experience, and centuries of tradition all seem to agree. It gives your body exactly what it's craving at this stage of life. Let's be honest, as we age, our bodies change in ways we didn't expect. Muscle mass begins to decline, a condition called sarcopenia. It sneaks up on people in their 50s and 60s, and suddenly tasks that used to feel easy, carrying groceries, bending down to garden, even climbing stairs, start to feel heavier. The number one defense against this isn't just exercise, it's protein. And eggs, they're a protein powerhouse. Just one egg gives you about 6 to 7 grams of high quality protein. But it's not just the amount, it's the quality. The protein in eggs is considered a complete protein, meaning it has all the essential amino acids your muscles need to repair and grow. That's rare in single foods. For comparison, you'd need to combine beans and rice to get the same balance of amino acids that one egg naturally provides. That's why athletes, bodybuilders, and yes, even doctors consistently recommend eggs as a muscle-friendly food. And if you're over 50 and starting to notice the slow creep of muscle loss, eggs may be one of the most reliable allies you can put on your breakfast plate. But protein is just the beginning of the story. Let's talk about energy. One of the complaints I hear most often from people in their 50s and beyond is that they feel drained halfway through the morning. Maybe they've had a bowl of cereal or a bagel for breakfast, but by 10 a.m., they're already searching for coffee or a snack. Why does this happen? Simple carbohydrates cause your blood sugar to spike and then crash, leaving you feeling sluggish and hungry again. Eggs, on the other hand, are digested more slowly, providing steady energy without that roller coaster effect. Pair them with some vegetables or whole grain toast, and you've got a meal that stabilizes blood sugar and keeps you fueled well into the afternoon. If you've ever felt like your mornings were slipping away in a fog of low energy, imagine how different it would feel to start with a breakfast that actually sustains you. Now, let me address the elephant in the room: the cholesterol debate. For decades, eggs were unfairly labeled as dangerous for the heart. People were told to avoid the yolk, to stick with egg whites, or to skip eggs entirely. But research over the past 2 decades has overturned that myth. The cholesterol in food doesn't directly raise blood cholesterol the way we once thought. In fact, for most people, eating eggs has little to no negative effect on cholesterol levels. What really impacts heart health is the balance of overall diet: processed foods, trans fats, lack of fiber, not the humble egg yolk. And that yolk, by the way, is a nutritional treasure chest. It contains choline, which supports brain health and memory. It contains lutein and zeaxanthin, antioxidants that protect your eyes from age-related macular degeneration, a leading cause of vision loss after 50. It contains vitamin D, which is critical for bone health and immune function, especially as we age and our bodies produce less vitamin D naturally. Skipping the yolk means throwing away some of the most powerful nutrients nature has to offer. I'll give you a personal example. A friend of mine in her early 60s had been avoiding eggs for years because she was terrified of cholesterol. She told me she was tired all the time, struggling with brain fog, and her doctor had warned her about bone thinning. When she finally reintroduced eggs, just two or three a few times a week, she noticed a difference within a month. Her mornings felt more energetic. She wasn't reaching for snacks as often, and she even said she felt more mentally sharp. Was it magic? No. It was simply giving her body the building blocks it was missing. If you've been hesitant about eggs because of outdated information, I encourage you to take a second look. Something else to consider is the role eggs can play in weight management. Let's face it, our metabolism doesn't hum along at the same pace after 50 as it did in our 20s. It slows down, and suddenly those extra pounds around the middle are harder to shed. High protein breakfasts like eggs have been shown to reduce cravings and help people naturally eat fewer calories throughout the day. Starting your morning with eggs instead of pastries or cereal might not just give you energy, it might also make it easier to maintain a healthy weight without feeling deprived. And let's be real. At this stage of life, it's not about fitting into skinny jeans. It's about keeping blood sugar steady, supporting heart health, and staying mobile and independent. Eggs help with all of that. And here's another angle you might not have thought of. Eggs are one of the most affordable sources of nutrition you can buy. With grocery prices rising, a dozen eggs is still far less expensive than meat, fish, or most supplements. For seniors on a budget, eggs can be a lifesaver, offering protein, vitamins, and minerals at a fraction of the cost of other foods. Accessibility matters, and eggs bring both nutrition and affordability to the table. Of course, not all breakfasts with eggs are created equal. Frying them in heavy oils or pairing them with processed meats isn't going to do your heart any favors. But scrambling them with spinach, boiling them, add to a salad, or making an omelet with colorful vegetables, that's where eggs shine. They're versatile enough to fit into almost any eating style, whether you're low carb, Mediterranean, or just trying to keep things simple. Ah, my personal favorite is a vegetable omelet with mushrooms, bell peppers, and a sprinkle of cheese. It's hearty, colorful, and it gives me everything I need to power through the day. Now let's talk about something deeper. Food is never just food. For many of us, breakfast is also about ritual, about the way we start our day mentally and emotionally. Cracking an egg into a pan, hearing it sizzle, smelling that warmth, it's grounding. It reminds us of mornings with family, of comfort, of stability. And when you combine that sense of ritual with genuine health benefits, it becomes more than a meal. It becomes a habit that carries you forward. That's why I truly believe eggs can be a cornerstone of life after 50. So let me ask you this. What's your breakfast routine right now? Do you feel energized, satisfied, and ready for the day? Or do you feel like you're just coasting until lunchtime, waiting for that second cup of coffee to kick in? If you've struggled with mornings, try giving eggs a chance for a week. Notice how your body responds. And if you do, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Sharing these experiences helps us all learn from each other. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more tips like this, because sometimes the biggest changes come from the smallest steps, like rethinking your breakfast. Here's the big picture. After 50, our bodies are asking us for specific things: protein to protect our muscles, antioxidants to protect our eyes, vitamins to protect our bones, and steady energy to protect our day. Eggs deliver on all of these. They're not perfect in every way. Nothing is. But as a single food that's widely available, affordable, and nutrient dense, they come pretty close. When I call eggs the number one food for breakfast after 50, it's not just hype. It's based on science, on real life experiences, and on the simple truth that sometimes the most ordinary foods can have the most extraordinary impact. So tomorrow morning, as you stand in your kitchen deciding what to eat, I invite you to see that little egg differently. Don't think of it as just a breakfast staple. Think of it as a tool for strength, for clarity, for independence. Think of it as one of the simplest ways you can honor your body as it changes with age. Because the truth is, the second half of life can be just as vibrant, just as joyful, and just as fulfilling as the first, but only if we give ourselves the fuel to live it fully. Eggs, humble as they are, can be a part of that story. And just maybe, when you crack that egg tomorrow morning, you'll remember this conversation. You'll remember that you're not just cooking breakfast, you're investing in your health, your strength, and your future. That's why I believe the perfect breakfast, especially after 50, might just start with an egg.